Welcome, this is Luis Barajas on My Street Money Live, and we're here every Tuesday, except for the next couple Tuesdays, I'm going to be traveling, but every Tuesday you can count on me to answer questions that are on My Street Money Live. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to read some that you guys have been sending. Thank you for sending some in advance. It allows me to kind of write down some thoughts, but the first one that I have here for this week is I keep hearing that I should invest with a long-term perspective. Right now with the market uncertainty, my advisor or my friend said that I need to invest with a long-term perspective, but what does a long-term perspective mean? All right, when it comes to investing, usually it is when you're investing anything that is in equities or the stock market or in real estate or anything that doesn't have that actually you don't have a guaranteed rate of return. And when you invest some money today, you don't know what it's going to do actually within the hour, within the next day, within the next year or two. And what happens is that sometimes you invest and we enter in a recession. It's not very often that we enter a recession, but it might happen while you do it. And so if you're going to need the money within a year or two, it may be risky because the market may be volatile. And sometimes we do have recessions or we have down markets. And so you don't want to invest with a perspective that if you're going to invest in those type of investments, which will earn you a longer or better rate of return in the long term, but you don't want to put the money there. So what does that mean? So technically anything that is 5 years or less is not a long-term perspective. You want to have in your mindset that I'm going to invest in something. I'm going to buy a house in 5 or 6 years. I'm going to be retiring in 5 to 10 years. I'm going to be doing anything longer than 5 years is mostly a long-term perspective. Some people think it's more than 7 years. Now, so for example, you open up a Fidelity account, you buy some Amazon stock, or you buy a portfolio that's already that's diversified in exchange traded funds in large cap stocks, small cap, international. You put together a portfolio. And so what happens is you got to have in your mindset that the market can turn on you, can go down. So if you actually will need money in the next 6 months, year, 2 years, you may be lower than when you started with, and that's not going to help you, okay? So if in that case, what you're going to do is you're going to put your money in kind of they're more cash safe type of instruments. You're going to put your money in a money market fund, in a high yield fund, in a CD, in a 1 year, 2 year CD. It might be in some bonds as well, but something that is not so volatile, okay? So long-term perspective, 5 years or more. And just in case we do enter a recession, and some of the longest recessions we've had sometimes have been around a year to 18 months. And so it takes time for your money to recoup and get your investment back and actually make some more money on that, okay? So long-term perspective, 5 years or more. Okay, next question I have. Now, this is a question that I received a couple days ago, but I actually have had a few clients who have been laid off in the last couple months and have come to me with the exact same question, and I'll read it to you here. I lost my job and now I'm doing some freelance work. I'll be getting a 1099 at the end of the year. I've always been a W-2 employee. What do I need to be aware of now that I'm getting paid as an independent contractor? All right, so a lot of you who've been laid off saying, you know what, I have some value, or there's things that I can do. I can maybe get hired by somebody, or I can do work for other people based on my expertise, and they can pay me, but at the end of the year, they're going to issue me a 1099 NEC. I'm going to have to take that income and I'm going to have to report it on my tax return. Now, the problem is that happens to a lot of people, and they forget that they're going to have to pay not only just federal taxes, and if they live in a state that's taxing you as well, just like here in California, you're going to have to pay state taxes. And there's this thing that your tax preparer is going to surprise you with called self-employment taxes. And what is that? Well, those are your Social Security taxes. And in the past, when you were working, your boss, your employer, was withholding federal taxes, withholding state taxes, and was withholding half of your Social Security taxes that you have to pay in because your employer was matching the other half, right? And the Social Security tax and Medicare tax together is 15.3%. So they were withholding 7.65% from your paycheck for your Social Security taxes, and it doesn't appear on your tax return. It doesn't even show up, right? What only shows up is either your federal tax liability, what was withheld, and you're either going to get a refund or not, but there's no refunds on Social Security taxes. So now you're responsible for 15.3%. Now, you're not going to be paying taxes and all the income for the work that you're doing for someone else. When you get that 1099, you're going to be allowed to take deductions for your business expenses. But on the net, you will be paying taxes. So now you are responsible for making quarterly estimated tax payments. So if you basically kind of have an idea that you're going to be earning, let's say this year, $60,000, $40,000 on freelance work, and then you know that you're going to have around maybe $10,000 of expenses, you'll make a net of $30,000. You need to put away some of that money that you're going to be paying for taxes on a quarterly basis. So if you know that you're going to owe, let's say, $12,000 in taxes, what you're going to do is you're going to take $3,000 and you're going to send it to the IRS every quarter. Now, when do you send it in? The money is due, the first quarter money is due is April 15th. The next quarter is June 15th. Then you have September 15th. And then you also have January 15th of the following year to make the final contributions. If you don't make that money, if you don't pay it in and you owe money at the end of the year, you're going to owe the taxes, obviously, like you know you would, but you're also going to pay maybe some interest and some penalties for not making the quarterly estimated tax payments on time. So, really super important that you meet with your tax preparer if you're going from a W-2 to a 1099 NEC employee, and you kind of guesstimate what you're going to be earning and what expenses you're going to have. All right, so those are the taxes that basically catches everyone off guard. What else? Well, if you've been laid off or you've been terminated or you've been given a buyout like some of my clients, you are no longer going to have any benefits. You're not going to have health insurance, and you cannot not have health insurance. You need to get it. So usually if you've been let go, you're able to get COBRA. And COBRA allows you by law to be able to participate in your employer's health insurance for a while. It's kind of expensive, but you can participate so you don't lose that, but you want to go through the marketplace, right? You want to go through the marketplace, and let me give you the website for the marketplace. It is, let me see here, I wrote it down. And to get your health insurance, it is, where is it? I have it here. I'll give it to you in a little bit. It is for the health insurance, and it's the marketplace. So we'll give it to you in a little bit. I think I have it here somewhere. All right? But you need a health insurance. The other thing is this, is that you also had, hopefully you had, or you were participating in your employer's 401k plan, 403b plan, retirement plan. Well, you have an option. You could leave it there with your previous employer, or you can roll the money over and you have control of it, over it, and you can roll it over into like a Fidelity account, Schwab account, the Robinhood account, whatever you want, and then you can manage the money yourself. But now that you are self-employed, you actually can continue putting money away in a retirement plan for yourself. You can do it regularly through an IRA, a Roth, your own Roth IRA, or you can do it through a business type of retirement plan for yourself. You can do a solo 401k, which doesn't really cost anything to create. And also the other ones that I love to use for my solo entrepreneurs, my freelancers, is a SEP plan, a self-employed pension plan. And they're really IRAs as well. And you could do up to 20%, around 20% of your net income. Okay? You're going to be filing your tax, your income and your expenses on your individual tax return form 1040 on a form called Schedule C. It's called the sole proprietorship form. All right, and even if you decide that you want some liability protection and become an LLC, that's a single member LLC, you'll still be filing on that Schedule C. Okay, so you need, the taxes are a must that you get grips on it and you put money away, because at the beginning when you don't have a lot of money, you're using all of it, but you're going to basically be behind the 8 ball next year when your tax preparer says you owe a lot of money to the IRS. So let's get ahead of that game. What else? So we got your benefits. Oh, last one is you don't want to commingle your personal and your business expenses. You just don't want to do that. So you want to open up a separate account. If you haven't set up as a business and it's just you and you're charging somebody else under your name, That's okay. You can open up a separate account. You're now a sole proprietor. You're in business, but you want to open up a separate account that is just for where you're going to be depositing all your income, and then you're going to be paying all your business expenses through there. You don't want to do it through your personal. The IRS does not like you to, and here's the word, commingle your personal and business expenses. And if you were to get audited in the future, they may deny your business expenses because they're going to see that you had personal, and they're not going to be able to differentiate, and they may just deny all the expenses, and you'll get in trouble for that. So separate the accounts. Another big no-no that I see all the time, especially if a client comes to me and they've been audited and they need some help. And so it takes some time to detangle that and get a structure. Now, if you decide that you're tired of working for somebody else and you just want to stay, freelancing or create your own business, then you can take the time to sit down with your CPA or with your business financial planner and set up the proper corporate structure to provide you some liability protection. So you may become a corporation or an S Corp, or like I said, a single member LLC. Lots to think about. For some of you, I know that some of my clients have been really hurt or upset because they've been with companies for a long time. They've been let go, and they're getting older and they're having a hard time finding a job. But they have so much experience, so have so much knowledge that they're providing tremendous value in this economy, and they are getting their sideline gigs, and they're probably sometimes now making more money than they were when they were working for the employer. So think about doing everything correctly and structured so you don't get in trouble in the future with the IRS, and continue putting money away for your retirement. All right, what else? So that's that. Here's a great one that I've got, and then we'll go to the ones that people have been sending in right now. Is Louis, I'm scared because I've been told that Social Security may run out in 2035. I am going to be 62 years old this year. When should I consider getting my Social Security income? At age 62, at my full retirement age of 67, or should I wait till 70 years of age? I would have wanted to wait until 70, but now I'm wondering if I should take Social Security at age 62. What should I do? So there's a lot of discussion around Social Security and what's going to happen in 2035. We're running out of money. Now, most people think that the money that, if you're working right now, and the money that they're taking out for Social Security is for you. It's not. It's actually for the people that are retired and getting Social Security now. They're not putting that money into a bucket just for you. And so what happens is that we know that there aren't as many people working as we had as many baby boomers working, and so there's less people participating in the Social Security program and putting money away for the people that are retiring, and all the baby boomers are retiring at thousands of people per day are retiring. And so when you retire, you get a choice. You get a choice to retire. You take an early retirement and get 60 at 62. It used to be where everybody got a full retirement at age 65. They upped it to 67 because they knew that we were running out of money. And then you can wait until age 70. And so every single year, based on the amount of money that you are going to get, they're adding an additional 8% of income for you. So if you do wait until age 70, it's going to be a significant difference from 62 to 70, or even from 67 to 70. And so, it depends when you want to get it. But here's what we're talking about. We're talking about is the fear is if I wait till age 70, let's see, that person's 62, that's 8 years from now, and we're 10 years from reaching 2035, like he's saying, well, I may only be able to collect because there won't be any money left. Well, that's not necessarily going to happen. I assure you that right now they're working on solutions. So what are the solutions? They're going to have people pay more. You're capped on the Social Security that you pay on your income every year, right? And they raise that cap every year. They may remove the cap, and everybody's going to have to pay Social Security taxes on a lot more money to collect money for the people that are collecting Social Security or will collect Social Security. Instead of getting the amount promised of 100%, we may get 77 to 80% of it. But we will still continue to have Social Security. I can guarantee you that they're going to work something out. Well, I can't guarantee you, but I'm pretty confident that the Congress and Senate, the President will work something out because they're going to have to. And so the thing is, well, why should you wait? Well, again, you got to take a look at and have things in context. If you are still working and don't need the money, you shouldn't take the money out at age 62. There's no reason to, and pull out early retirement. Some people say, well, I just want to get it. I want to start collecting on it. But remember, if you're still working, you're going to have to pay some of that back. And also, when people get Social Security currently under the current tax law, you're going to have to report that as income and pay taxes on it again, which is a tax on a tax, which I've always said that seems unfair. And right now, I think under the current, the new tax bill that they're trying to pass, I think they're trying to get that where it will not be taxed going forward. But currently right now, you're paying tax on it up to 85% of it. You have to report that as income. And so if you're not really going to be using it, you're working, why would you pull it out at age 62? At full retirement age, at age 67, some people are saying, you know what? If I continue working, I don't have to pay any of that money back. I still have to report income on it, but I'd rather just take the money, pay the taxes on it, and then I can set it aside, or I can invest it any way I want. I can start collecting the money and do that. Other people saying, you know what, I'd rather take it at age 70 because I'm going to max out the income that I'm going to get every single year. Remember, you're getting 8% from 62 up to age 70, 8% increase in that income every single year, and then it stops at age 70, right? Going forward after age 70, you might get some inflation increases, but again, that's up to the government to tell us what those increases are every year. It might be 2%, 3%. The other thing is that people will take into context longevity in their life. The thing is that some people tell me, well, in my family, nobody lives past age 70, 75. And I'd rather start collecting at 62 because I may not collecting a long time. Other people tell me, in their family, the average age for their parents and grandparents was 95, 93 years old. And in that case, if you can wait until age 70, I would suggest waiting until age 70 because you're going to live a long time, right? And it's more based on also, you'll take a look at, from all the studies that I have read and I have seen and stuff that we've done, calculations we've done for some of our clients, if they get it at 67, by the time, if they wait till age 70, there's you get caught up around by the time you're age 82. So you'll see the difference. So again, you start collecting early, but you start collecting less money as compared to age 70. And then if you live past age 82, waiting till age 70 is going to give you a lot more money. But age 82, if you live past 82, you're going to get a lot more money, okay? So sit down with your financial planner. If not, give me a call. We can sit down and we'll do some calculations. But again, don't be concerned. There will be some Social Security. They'll have to work on something, some kind of solution to make it work. And again, my guess is going to be they're just going to increase the taxes on the amount of money or increase the income level that you pay. So that's one there. All right. So Eddie, can you move it to number one? I don't know if you can. I can see that I've got some things here. It says there questions that you guys are sending in right now is how do I bounce back after making a bad money decision? Well, not a lot of context there, but a bad money decision. Don't know what that is. I'm going to make a guess. I'm going to make an assumption that you've actually invested in something and you've lost money in that investment. So, you take it as a learning as a learning experience, right? And you go back and take a look at what happened that you did make a bad money decision. What were you thinking about? What happened? Did you listen to somebody who maybe might have conned you into believing something that wasn't true? Did you not do any due diligence? Treat everything as a learning experience. I can't tell you how many people I have met. Almost everyone has made a bad money decision at some point. And if you don't learn from that money decision, you're not going to grow. But the thing is that we all learn from it. The goal is for you to think about what you did, why you did it, and not do it again, okay? And again, so the thing is that you have to be careful with people out there talking about having you invest in these crazy wild hair ideas that, they can't even explain. Just because somebody's wearing a nice suit and tie or they're in a big high-rise building and it appears that they're making a lot of money, or they're making a lot of money just very short term. It hasn't happened long term. You can't believe everybody, okay? So you have to be leery of people like that. Be very careful. But how do you bounce back? You start saving your money. I think that the most important thing is that you continue investing and not get so hurt that you stop. I can't tell you how many people that I have met with who, when I sit down and say long term, your best investment is a well-diversified stock portfolio, long-term for your retirement, long-term for your long-term goals, but because they had one bad experience in the stock market or with one stock or with one investment, they do not want to hear about it, they don't want to talk about it, and they are shut down completely from moving forward. Don't let that happen to you, okay? Don't let that happen to you if it's happened to you. Talk to your advisor, find out what happened, and then take a look at, again, why you're doing what you're doing, and what's the time horizon. When somebody asked me, how should I invest my money? We just talked earlier in this session here that you want to invest with a long-term horizon, a 5-year or more time horizon. What does that mean? Again, I'm going to go through it right now when we're talking about a bad money decision. Meaning that in your head, you're not going to touch this money for the next 5 years or longer. Now, is money in a stock portfolio or ETF or mutual fund portfolio completely liquid? I mean, you can sell it tomorrow? Absolutely. But that's not the mindset that you want going in. Your money is going to go up and down. There's volatility. Volatility is not risk. Risk is when your own actions and behavior get the best of you, when your emotions get the best of you because the stock market's down and you get scared and you pull the money out, then you actually really lost money, right? Right now, if your portfolio is down, the stock market's been down this year, it's going back up, but it's been down this year. And if you pulled your money out, that should tell you whether your emotions got the best of you. Okay, so continue investing, continue thinking about what goal and time horizon you have for each goal. Great. What else? How do I know if I'm getting ripped off by hidden fees in my bank or in investment accounts? Okay, so that's a strong word, getting ripped off. So just ask. So, there's things like, when you're working with an advisor or you're working at the bank or someone with Morgan Stanley or at Wells Fargo Advisors or Merrill Lynch, right? They normally will charge you what's called an asset management fee to manage your money, okay? And you have to ask if they're charging you 1%, which is the typical percentage I think that most people charge, around there. They can charge a little bit less, they can charge a little bit more. 1%, you got to ask, what are you paying for, right? But those fees you're going to see coming out. I mean, you're signing a document, you know about them. What you do not see is that sometimes inside the investments that the advisors are using, they have the investment firms, whether it's State Street, BlackRock, Vanguard, whatever, there are internal fees that they're billing to manage those accounts. How do you think they're paying their CFAs, their admin, their buildings, their rent? They have to get a certain percentage. And they call those basis points. They charge you what are basis points. So 100 basis points is 1%. 50 basis points is 0.5%, 25 basis point is 1/4 of 1%, 10 basis points is 1/10 of 1%. And most of the time when you're investing, you can take a look at, they'll tell you what those costs are. And normally I see when we use exchange traded funds that we're using with Vanguard or State Street, they can go anywhere from like 6 basis points maybe to 10, 12 basis points if they're like more international funds. If they're private equity deals, you're going to pay a lot more. Just ask. I don't think they're ripping you off. I think it depends on at the end how much money you have left in your pocket. But you do have to ask. Again, some people don't tell you. Now, where there may be some confusion is, for example, I see a lot of people using, for example, like annuities. And annuities will have fees to manage the funds, but there are also these things called surrender fees that if you sell that investment within a certain time frame, it could be 5 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, you will have to pay the investment company some money because they want to hold you to keeping that money there for a while. because they've just paid a commission to somebody else, and they're either trying to recoup those commissions, recoup other fees, and so people aren't aware of those fees. They tell you what they are, but you just don't have it on mind, and you sign documents. And so again, there's certain things that you want to ask: are there any surrender fees with any kind of, if you're buying some kind of life insurance policy that has cash value in there, you want to ask what those surrender fees are as well. Okay, so so ask. Again, people have to get. I always say people have to get paid for what they're doing. You want to get high quality people working and helping you. And again, ask what are they doing for getting compensated. Again, the money managers manage the money. As a financial planner, my role is not just to manage the money, but to take a look at the investments, take a look at the goals, see their estate planning, how the assets are being held, doing budgeting for the client. I mean, everything when it comes to financial planning, normally that's when we charge our fees. That's what we do for the client. So, okay. We've got another one here. My older sister is in her 50s and doesn't have good credit, so she can't get a credit card. I have a credit score in the 800s. Should I add her as an authorized user on my credit card to help her raise her score? What are some ways to help raise her credit score? All right. No, do not do that. You don't want to do that. So again, I hate to say this, but if someone is in their 50s or past their 40s or 30s and has bad credit score, they've used credit unwisely. They've probably got collections. They've got derogatories, meaning that they've made payments late. And so when you pull out their credit report, and by the way, you can go to annualcreditreport.com, annualcreditreport.com to pull down your credit reports for free and take a look at, and then you can go to like a Credit Karma and take a look at what your credit score is. It's free as well. But it's the person's not been responsible. I don't want to put my name with this person because I may, if they stop making a payment on that credit card, they're gonna now hit my credit report and my credit will go down. So I would not do it. I know that we want to help our siblings out. We want to help other family members out. I always tell people you don't want to ever co-sign a loan, especially if somebody has been irresponsible with their credit. Now, if it's somebody that is responsible, you know them, they've never done anything like that, and you want to take the risk of co-signing because they're a family member, go ahead and do that. But again, if they're older, haven't done that, I would absolutely not do it. So how do they raise their credit score? And because they've probably taken their credit cards away or they can't get one. So you can actually tell your sister she can go to a bank and get a credit card based on the amount of the money that she's deposited in that account. It's almost like a debit account where she'll put $1,000 into an account. She can use the credit, that Visa, the MasterCard, up to the $1,000 limit. So she'll go out and put something on credit and make payments on time. And now that starts giving her, raising her credit score, right? The other thing that she can do is take a look at or pull out her credit report and see why she has a bad credit. It could have been for something that was maybe not her fault. Somebody stole her identity. And there are people out there. She can reach out to the credit agencies and write letters to them and explain to them what happened. As long as she has documentation. For example, I know people who've had their credit stolen from them, their identity stolen from them, and they've had bad credit. And again, the credit agencies will remove it because one of the things you have to do when they've done that is you have to file a police report. You can send a copy of the police report, write a letter to the credit agency, and they will remove it. The problem is if you stop making payments or you miss a couple of payments, those things do not leave your credit report for 5 to 7 years. They'll be on there. So also take a look at how old those derogatories are on your credit report. You may be coming soon to getting them wiped off as well, so you may just be patient. But my best bet for you is probably get one of those credit cards where you put in a certain amount of money and you can use up to that credit limit and then you start rebuilding your credit score, okay? So I hate for you to tell your sister no, but that's something that I wouldn't suggest. All right, do we have anything else? Yeah, last one we've got for today, unless somebody's sending some questions in, is what do you think is the biggest money mistake people are making right now without realizing it? All right, well, there's a couple. One is I watch a lot of social media just to kind of get an idea to see what everybody else is doing. And I'm seeing how everyone, at least on social media, is spending so much money right now on eating out. And I will share with you, when I sit down and do budget planning for a client, the number one expense that I see is on food, and not going to the grocery store, but eating out. Eating out several times a week and with family. And right now, after what's happened with inflation, I mean, restaurant prices have almost doubled in certain places. And I see the amount of money that is being spent on that. We actually have a wealth confidence budget. If you go to luisbarajas.com, we have a budget. We just updated it. Actually, we just updated it recently, like I said, like recently as of yesterday. And we have there an Excel spreadsheet that you can do and take a look at and put down all your expenses. And it'll give you a ratio of whether it's you're spending more than you should on food or housing or whatever. But that's the number one. Here's the other one that I think is equally tied to that. And maybe because people are spending so much money, and that is not saving money. I have seen people in the last year or two make some money mistakes, like we talked about earlier, and they could not go to an emergency savings account, and their credit was tapped out, or they had no credit, and they went and took money from their retirement plan. And I said, I think last week, if you were here last week and you heard me, that you need to treat your retirement money, your 401k money, your IRAs, your Roth IRAs, as sacred money that you do not touch for whatever reason. And so that's a huge money mistake. So getting the money from there, but right now it's not saving. And setting everything on automatic, where you have money taken from your checking account or your wages to go into a special savings account for building up emergency reserves. And again, I don't know if we're in a recession or we're entering a recession, but I know that people have been losing jobs, because I have been doing a lot of planning around that for new clients coming in, and saving money and not putting money away in emergency reserves. I've always said, to make something powerful, you need to make it practical. Okay? To make something powerful, I'll say it again, you need to make it practical. And you're never going to save money at the end by writing a check and putting it into your savings account. Have the money being taken out from your checking account or from your employer's job, take a portion of it, go directly into a savings account. Hopefully, an online bank, a high yield savings account where you're earning 3.75 to 4% on your money right now. Okay? Biggest money mistakes are not saving. Let's see here. What's something small? Last one. This one. I thought that was the last one. There's one more that came in. What's something small I can cut from my spending that makes a big difference over time? I will share with you. We just talked about it. It's eating out. You eat a lot healthier staying home. There's a lot of recipes, whether you go on TikTok. A lot of people making great food at home also on TikTok, besides also eating out. And you can go on social media and take cooking lessons, but eating out, it's the number one culprit of people spending thousands of dollars a year unnecessarily sometimes, that really eat into the more impactful things. Okay, impactful things like your retirement, or saving for your kids' college fund, or saving to buy your first home, or the deposit to buy your first home, or starting your own business. More impactful things. So that's it right there. We are done for today. I will not be around for the next couple of weeks, but continue sending your questions in. This is My Street Money Live. And if you like the content that we're giving you, I do other social media posts throughout the week on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. Please like me, help me out. Like me, subscribe on YouTube as well, and send me emails to info@luisbarajas.com with your questions, or if there's anything that we can do to help you. We also provide workshops and seminars for employer groups. for organizations. If you'd like me to come out and do a presentation for you guys, right now we're really focused on the 50 workshops. And 50 not being 50, but sin and cuenta, without count, it's more workshops for people over 50 who are maybe been a little bit behind on saving for retirement, or thinking about and having conversations about Social Security, or thinking about downsizing. These are the things that we talk about in the 50 workshops. It's workshops for people specifically focused on 50 and above. Okay? So reach out to us if you're interested in that. We'll see you next time, and enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun, and again, I'll be back in a couple of weeks. Thank you.